Altar of the Mountain God, Chapter 7 of Ninja Gaiden 4 on Master Ninja difficulty. What is up, everyone? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and as always, we're going to meander our way to the end of this mission. We're still during my first sort of play session of Master Ninja, so I'm still not rocking full health, still no Dark Dragon Blade, but regardless, we're going to prevail against the challenge of this chapter, which is Kurobo, the big bad boss, and I think genuinely probably the first roadblock in my initial playthrough of this game on standard difficulty. This boss gave me quite a bit of trouble, but once you kind of figure out his shtick, he's quite straightforward to deal with. We're quickly actually going to go grab the Growdy that's at the end of this sort of path. I actually somehow missed this, and as I mentioned in a previous video, I was using Master Ninja in an ill-fated attempt to try and clean up some missing things like missions and collectibles, which definitely does add to some of the time to the end of my missions and kind of devalues the rank a little bit, but realistically it's fine. We managed to capture 12 of them there, and I think at this point I only had a couple left. Kind of gobsmacked that there was one actually in the final mission, which I would not have assumed was a thing, but it was. I don't know how I missed it as well, because when I went back to find it, it was quite straightforward. We are basically going to load up here. Our main strategy is going to be to make use of the Kage Hiroko. It's standard Bloodbind technique, alongside the just charged throwables. Does a lot of damage. It also ends up breaking the boss out of a lot of their unblockable moves. We get the perfect dodge there. But we're going to keep this thing at length, and the first phase of this, I guess it depends on how or like what in particular you're sort of comfortable with. Because in this first phase, this boss is going to use a lot of melee moves, and in the second phase, it's pretty much going to use nothing but moves at a distance alongside its dive bomb move, which realistically isn't all too hard to dodge, especially with the whole floating mechanic. But yeah, we're going to make use of items here that boost our attack value. If anything, we're kind of playing very recklessly. I think I actually end up getting cooked quite early here. Yeah, speak of the devil. But that's fine. If anything, it kind of just shows that you really don't need to be doing things amazingly. I think this was probably, as I said, near the end of the play session, so I was getting quite frustrated. Kind of wanted this to be over and done with. This mission in particular. But yeah, we're just popping, you know. We got the ninja coins to spend, we're splashing the old cash and just going to town. There's not really much to look out for here other than the dive bombs. And you want to really be careful about when you fly. You got to pick and choose your moments, because if you do it too early, this game is evil in the way of how it sorts out its recovery frames. And be careful when he does these too. He can do these unprovoked, but the recovery frames from when you're floating back down almost always line up with the fact that this boss is basically going to tag you right at the end of those recovery frames when you can barely do anything to move. He can be quite a pain to track on the camera here, but the kind of key indicator you're looking out for is going to be that sort of red mark when he pauses for just a second before he comes straight down. Other than that, quite a straightforward boss, I'm not going to lie. I think that the follow-up boss after this is probably a lot tougher, but that one's not necessarily mandatory, so you don't have to sort of struggle through it if you don't want to. I think I kind of gave it a bit of a half-hearted attempt before I got smoked, and then realized that, you know, I could explain it away as it being canon. You know, it's fine. But it's almost done. Don't get too impatient at this point. Often I find that when bosses have almost no health left is kind of when I try and rush in and end up catching a stray death for my troubles. Completely missed that. I don't know what he was doing. Somebody find him a map. Doesn't know what he's doing. And just like that, we get this very lengthy POV shot. You know, POV, a big Master Ninja just drills you atop a moonlit tower in the middle of the night. Sounds like the title for a horrific anime or illustrious book, whatever you want to call it. Well, here's Ryu anyway. It's a massive playing field we got here. He still ends up catching me though. I try and break him out of these, but it just doesn't do anything. Should have hit him with a Kaike Hiroko, but it's fine, because eventually we get to the end of the mission. And it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I want to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.